Israel is bombing Syria again. I don't know if one of you or some of you are keeping count. I've lost count for this year. I don't know the tally for this year, but they bombed Syria just 2 days ago. Let me show you what happened. So you can see over here the T4 or TS military base, which is in Homs, in the Homs governorate, right? So Damascus down here, and this is Homs, and it's also called the T4 air base. So TS T4 air base. This is the largest air base in Syria, and this was bombed by Israeli planes, who reportedly were not coming from the south, but or rather the southwest, but rather from Al-Tanf. So Al-Tanf is a U.S. military base, an illegal U.S. military base, which is set up there, and you know it's they do it under the guise of it's a co-project between the U.S. Forces and the Free Syrian Army, which is basically another way of saying Al-Qaeda, and so so that's what it is. And apparently the planes came from that direction. I also saw a report of U.S. reconnaissance planes flying in the vicinity. So I think this was done with the support of American planes. It's, again, I think you all know this, but the Israelis and the Americans always collaborate on intelligence and military issues. So it's not like it's something new. But just telling you what was reported. Now, the conclusion, 6 Syrian soldiers wounded, no casualties, and most of the Israeli missiles were shot down. Okay? So, again, why do they bomb this base, which they've done before, by the way? Same reason as they always, same pretext that they always give. They don't necessarily have to do it themselves. The media will do it for them because they're a mouthpiece. So they say that, this base, it's not an ordinary military base. It has Iranian troops there. It has Hezbollah targets. Yeah, but who gave you the right to bomb it anyway? Who cares if it has Iranian targets or it has, Macedonian soldiers or Mickey Mouse? Who the fuck asked you? Who said you have the right to come bomb it? Like, what kind of a logic is that? Doesn't matter. This is how they justify it, right? And it's interesting because the Israelis don't even admit to the strikes. Never mind who they struck. So you can see how the media, they immediately come out and they start defending it and start rationalizing it, right? And they struck this base before, like I said. They usually bomb Damascus or other places in Syria, but mostly Damascus almost every week. Almost every week. So that's what the $3.8 billion that the United States gives Israel goes towards. It goes towards occupying Palestine mainly, but also towards bombing Syria. And of course, when they bomb Syria, they violate Lebanese airspace to go through Lebanese airspace. And yeah, that's what it's used for. That's what the squad are helping to fund. Very, very, very nice of them. So this is this is a weekly occurrence, like we said. They're either bombing Gaza or they're bombing Syria on a weekly basis, and they always use this pretext of Iranian targets, which is absurd. If you reverse the situation, do you think that they would tolerate the reverse? Do you think that, for example, the United States would accept Mexico bombing southern Texas or something every week because they want to target something? They would never tolerate one bomb. They wouldn't tolerate one grenade, one bullet, never mind jets coming in, right? And so instead of calling it for what it is, which is a violation of sovereignty, which it's a war crime, it's a violation of the UN Charter, the media, they spin it as some kind of necessary action, right? Like some noble action. Oh, they're hitting Iranian targets. What the fuck? What do you mean Iranian? Where's your proof for that? You just spout that nonsense out. And again, what business is it of yours if there are Iranian troops who are in Syria? Syria is a sovereign country. It's not your fucking colony. It can invite whoever it wants to defend Syrian soil from the very attacks that we were talking about, the weekly attacks. We're just supposed to sit down and do nothing? Like, how dare you? How dare you have a defense partnerships? Shut up and let us bomb you. This is their fucking logic. They're insane. Right? It's this colonial bullshit attitude. So, they think that by saying that they can justify committing acts of war. It's an act of aggression, an act of war. You know, if someone invaded U.S. airspace, or some jets came and bombed the Israelis, you think they would shut up? You think they would tolerate that? So this is how they manufacture consent, because by saying, oh my God, Iran is so evil, oh my God, Hezbollah is so evil, they drill this into your fucking brain every day. They drill it into your mind nonstop. They vilify Iran, they vilify Hezbollah. So when you see a headline that says Israel struck Iranian targets in Syria, you're like, oh, that's good. Iran equals bad. So that must be good that they hit. This is what they do. It's conditioning, right? They brainwash you. This is how they manufacture consent. So you acquiesce to acts of war. They're acts of aggression. When you bomb another country, it's a fucking act of war. And they know this very well. And they're trying to get away with it. They think they can get away with it for the time being because Syria is under a lot of duress. You know, it's going through a war for 10 years now. So obviously it doesn't have the resources. It doesn't have the capabilities to fend off these attacks that occur on a weekly basis. And we know the Israelis, by their own account, by their own admission, are working with Al-Qaeda. It's not me saying that. This is a former head of their intelligence service, the Mossad. He's just admitting it on Al Jazeera, right? So this is something that they've admitted to. They work with fucking Al-Qaeda in Syria to hurt the Syrian people, to hurt the Syrian government. Like, that's how low they stoop. No different. This is who Syria is facing. Zionists, Al-Qaeda, imperialists. That's what it's about, right? And not just that, of course, but all the other various offshoots they funded. You know, these are just the things they admit to. It's much more sinister and nefarious than that, of course. So again, when I talk about these things, people are like, "Oh, is it Friday again?" Like, it's so normal that they do this, right? And then they talk about rules-based order, and they talk about, "Oh, we're the only democracy in the Middle East." What a load of horse manure. They have no respect for international law. They have no respect for anyone's sovereignty. They have no respect for human rights. They have no respect for the UN Charter. They don't give a shit about this. They violate it every day. So, you know, next time you want to listen to Israelis or Zionists or imperialists talking about Syria or Iran, I mean, look at their own actions. Just imagine if Iran was bombing some country every day or every week, or Syria was bombing another country, right? They do this and get away with it because they have the whole media apparatus supporting them and reframing things and brainwashing people to acquiesce to this kind of aggression. They're very important. You know, you have an entire industry behind this. You just don't question it. No one questions this in German media, English media, French media. It's just accepted like it's normal. Like, yeah, of course the United States has carriers off the coast of Iran. Of course Israel's bombing Syria. Like, yeah, why shouldn't they, right? They're Iranian targets. Just cuckoo. Complete warmongering bullshit, really.